Good morning, everyone. So, hi. I'm currently traveling in California, and I actually have high-speed fiber optic connection today. So, I have tried to make this video a couple of times, and it has not worked. So, because my internet was so bad in Mexico. So here we are, third try trying to do that. So today I want to talk about how to shift your mindset to make feeling of being a single mom feel like a really empowered choice. And I got inspired to talk about this because one of my guests, my podcast guest, Singay Ford, said when I asked her what does she regret or what would she change if she could change anything about her journey to being a single mom, and she said she would change her mindset. So I just wanted to, and here's what she said. She said, I think I would have worked around my mindset to begin with, so I could turn this into a really good idea and look at all the positive things instead of seeing this as a plan B. I wouldn't see it as a failure. I wouldn't say to myself, okay, if I can't have this fairy tale, this is my second best. I would reframe it in my mind and feel empowered from the outset. And I thought this was just a really awesome thing that I also think is true. But, sometimes you can tell people, hey, change your mindset. And it's just not that easy. They don't feel empowered right away. And it's all well and good basically to tell someone change your mindset, but what are some ways to help you do that? So I always love working with sort of a 3-step process called head, heart, gut. And it's basically giving voice to all 3 of those centers. I think in our culture, we're really focused on the head, and we really sort of think of that as supreme. But there's these other knowledge centers of the heart and the gut, and how can we give voice to those? So I would say we always start with the head because we need knowledge there. We need to sort of satisfy that part of the brain. So I would read articles, which I can link to some of them here, about how single moms report being happier than almost any other class of mothers, and how research on how kids born to single parents are doing just fine, and that sort of thing, sort of satisfy that head part of the equation. Realize that your kid is going to be okay, or hopefully going to be okay, but the research suggests that it's a powerful choice, and that it's kids are not damaged by being born to single moms. And I would do things like actually listening to my podcast, where I interview a different mom every week or an expert in the field, and sort of over and over and over again, women say they're so happy with the choice they made. They wouldn't do it other way. They love being a single mom. So hearing that message over and over and over again, I think is really powerful too. And then you can just kind of say, well, what if this was an empowered choice? What if this was actually the best thing I could ever do? Or maybe what if there's a reason that this is happening? What if there's a reason that I should be becoming a single mom, and maybe I don't know what it is yet, but what if I tried on the idea that this was actually the best possible idea for me? What comes up? How do you feel? What are the responses that you come up with? So it's sort of like a trying it on from like an intellectual standpoint. And one woman in one of my single moms by choice groups, when she was a thinker, I said that to her. I said, you know what? For me, it feels like a totally empowered choice, and I feel like I'm on this crusade to help women consider it as a first choice, not just a backup plan. And that was enough. It just clicked for her. She was like, oh, wow, it could just be an amazing choice instead of this thing I have to feel sadness and regret around. But, for a lot of people, it takes a lot more than that, and that's okay. So then my next suggestion would be to try tuning into your heart. So I find it really helpful to maybe even just put your hand on your heart, take a few deep breaths, just really feel into your body, feel your heart opening, and try and connect to, why do I want to be a mother? What is that about? connect to sort of the gratitude that this is even an option, that we have the technology and that people are open-minded enough to allow women to do this. And gratitude that you're in a position to be able to consider this choice, as well as just keep coming back to, why do I want to be a mom? What is that love for a child? My guest, Jill Costello, really talked about, I called her episode, What Would Love Do? Because she kept connecting to the love of her child, and that really got her through, the love of her potential future child. So that's another idea of a way to try and help shift your mindset. And then the third way is the gut. So I come from a practice of a lot of somatic work, and I really believe that when we make something, if we feel it in our bones or in our body, it really can help shift things. So I would say, take on the shape of, what would it feel like to make this feel like an empowered choice? What would, if you were walking down the street and felt like an amazing, empowered single mom who could do it all, what would that feel like in your body? How would you walk? How would you talk to people? How would you tell your friends about the choice? And really let it seep into your bones. And I have kind of a funny story about this. I basically, one day I just was feeling about my life. This was forever ago, but I had a friend who just had the most amazing walk. Like, she did not speed up if she was crossing the street and someone needed to get past and she hadn't, and the light turned, like, I always scurry across, but she would just keep walking with this proud, amazing feeling to her. And she just, people just turn their heads when she walks. She had this incredible walk. And one day I just was feeling crappy, and I decided to walk to public transport that day. I was living in San Francisco, so I decided I would walk to BART, pretending I was like her. And it was incredible. It shifted my entire mindset. It made me feel like a badass, and I just felt amazing. And it really sort of hammered home this point that trying on the shape of an idea, or a shape of feeling like, I got this. This is amazing. I get to make this choice, can be really powerful. So those would be some ways that I would work on your mindset. So again, kind of satisfy your head with all of the different knowledge and research that you can find. Listen to women talking about their stories. Ask other single moms. Satisfy that desire for knowledge. Then tune into your heart and all of the emotions that are coming up around this choice, and the love and the desire for a kid, and what that love might feel like. And then finally, the gut. Try and really feel what it would feel like in your bones, and try it on in practice. And this isn't something that's necessarily gonna shift overnight, but this might be a practice you come back to over and over and over again, and sort of over time you start to shift. Some people, they just really react very quickly, and other people, it's a process. So try it on and tell me how it goes. Write me in the comments and tell me what you think, what works for you, what doesn't, what other ideas you have about how to shift your mindset around this choice. And yeah, I want to know. I want to hear how it is. And then finally, I just wanted to make a couple announcements. Hopefully you've been listening to my podcast, Motherhood Reimagined podcast. I think it inspires me every week to hear women talking about their stories, and to hear the similarities in how happy people are about their choices. So check that out. I'm also looking for guests for that podcast. So reach out to me at sarah@motherhoodreimagined.com if you would be willing to be interviewed, or if you know someone you think who has a great story. Or I have to tell you, every story turns out to be amazing. So you don't have to feel like you have any sort of special story. And then finally, I have started my tribe signature level groups. They are both live, the one for thinkers and triers, and the one for women who are contemplating egg donation or embryo donation. It's weekly calls, tons of research, an online forum. So please check that out. You can find it on my website under membership. and I'll link to it here. So, yeah, I hope that's helpful, and I really want to hear what you think. So, thanks for tuning in, and I will be in touch very soon. Thanks so much. Bye.